This Azure data engineering um, is comprises of multiple things. Let's we talk about only prerequisites first. And the prerequisite side, I will recommend you to learn data warehousing. If you are not from data warehousing basics, not only basic, okay, only basics, not into the depth level. Why I am saying data warehousing basics? Most of the clients in the real world, they are using Azure for data warehousing purpose only. So we are going to build few tables, views, right? Consumption of the users. Sometimes in the projects we are working as an ETL, team. That ETL team will facilitate, this database or data warehouse that will be consumed by, some reporting tools or a few other people. So for that purpose, if you are not from the data warehousing background or a data background, so I want you to go through data warehousing basics. But anyways, I'm going to cover data warehousing basics for you thoroughly. As a data engineer or data warehousing, supporter or ETL person, whatever need, right? So I'll be able to cover up those concepts, but I would recommend you to explore more and more if you have time. Okay, so this will take at least 2 to 3 hours, maybe 2 hours also for us, because all of us like working professionals. I'm assuming all of us will be able to get it quickly. If not, we'll extend also. And then we'll start with the SQL, irrespective of you are working in SQL or not. So as part of this training, it is a full stack. Everything, whatever data engineer requires, right? I'm going to cover everything. That's why I'm mentioning SQL as well as a second topic. And then we'll see PySpark or Python. Okay. Then I'll go with the Azure portal introduction. And which means Azure cloud. So once I covered all these things, we are familiar. I'll immediately start with Databricks and then Data Factory, Synapse, right? So and so on. So we'll see some of the other external topics as well, which are essential in the job market. So I will be assisting in the other new tools as well. So that we'll not need not to mention here. We'll see what are all required. Maybe on the personal front, if you are having some anything required from your side, I suppose one of the person is looking for Azure Logic Apps, so that also I'll be able to cover for him. But that is not going to specifically mentioned here. If anything needed, I will be able to support them also. So this is a roadmap what I do have in my mind. So any point of time, through our team or to my in the class, you can be able to tell your sessions how you wanted to go this take this training. So I always have the feasibility to change it. I will be supportive to you all. So next, hi Suraj, good to see you. Just we started with the training. So can I have your introduction? Although we have seen introduction in the first three classes, just wanted to record in my mind. I would like to take this training in accordingly. So I mean, whether you are working professional, if you are working professional, what is your experience and domain you are working for, and the purpose you are taking this training? Yeah, yeah, Suraj. Suraj, your voice is, although you are unmuted, your voice is not audible to us. Okay, I think you may drop a message if it is not audible. In the next class, you try to figure out, please. In the next class, you can try to figure out what is the problem, okay? Audio issues. Is that fine, Suraj? Yeah, you can message here using the message window. You can message me. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Next class, you can be able to figure out. Adi show should not be there for posting some questions. Yogesh, hi.
Hello, Venkat. Hello, Venkat, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Yogesh, can I have your quick introduction? Although you have given, I want to remember myself how I wanted to take this training forward.
Yeah, okay. So I have 6 years experience in Power BI.
Okay, I remember, sir. Yeah, Yogesh. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ah,
good, good. I do remember few of the folks here. Whenever they're saying right, I understand. Sure,
okay.
sure. Okay. Okay. First, I'll start with data warehousing basics. In this, one thing I want to tell you here. A few of the things coming here. Operational systems. These are the terminologies I'm going to use here in terms of data warehousing. Operational systems, right? And then analytical systems. Okay. OLTP. Okay. And then WOLAP. We call this as data warehouse. Sorry, yeah, this we call it as data warehouse and database or some files. So what do I mean by operational system? Some of the system we use for day-to-day business. Some of the systems we use for day-to-day operations. They are called as operation systems. So to run the business, suppose I take State Bank of India or HDFC to run their business on regular basis. They need to have some data. Every transaction you make that needs to be stored in a system that is called as operation system. So that's what is mentioned here. It is very essential for any company. Even you take Flipkart also, you take any company, whatever it is, they wanted to store their transactions, what has happened on that particular day. So that is called current data. So once they're good with that record, as per transaction, whatever you did, right? So they'll be storing this data into some other system on the, some validations, and finally they load into another system called as data warehouse. That is called analytical system, wherein we are going to maintain the historical data. So transaction system, right? Transaction system mostly used for uh, transactions which are called as operational systems. So like airline reservations, as it mentioned here, right? Indigo will maintain a lot of transactions. That doesn't mean that all the data, whatever the purchase, whatever the travel you made, will be stored in their system. Only few records, few of the data that will be maintained in the data warehouse. Now you need to understand two things. Database is different. Data warehouse is different. Database, we can use it for historical purpose also, but that purpose is for um, current data only. So data warehouse will be maintained for history purpose. 30 years of data will be maintained. See, let's take a bank itself, HDFC. HDFC can be able to generate lot of data from the customer and the product they are selling, right? Lot of data they are maintaining. So all the records, whatever generated data that is generated end of the day, they maintain it in a few of the data in transaction system and other data in data warehousing system. So why this differentiation is happening is because of for maintaining data warehouse, separate validation has to go through ETL. So for that, they need to use manpower and tools. End of the day, they need to maintain a data warehouse. So data warehouse is purely history and pre-validated data, whether it is a correct record or not. They maintain so they validate it thoroughly. Then only they load into data warehouse. In case of database or transaction system, OLTP, all same. OLTP, transaction system, right? Database. So all those are like irrespective of that is correct record or not, maybe later point they're going to validate it. So but for now they're record the record into the system, but data warehouse will be thoroughly maintained, thoroughly properly validated, then only they load it actually. So that's what I mean to say here. Hope it is clear. I'll give an example from SBI itself, wherein they have the chance of creating data warehouse, and the other case where they use only database for few of the data. Let's take home loan. Home loan, if you take, at least you'll be associated to that bank for 20 to 30 years. Home loan, in that case, whenever you maintain you make a transaction, suppose EMI has been paid, that will be stored in the OLTP first, and then they validate it, they load the record on the second day into data warehouse. So history will be maintained in the data warehouse side. In case of data warehouse database, for the day alone, record will be maintained. Later point, maybe they maintain it or they override it actually. So that's how it goes on. So other example wherein they use only suppose ATM transactions. If you see sometimes uh, quite the 5 years of data only bank will maintain. After 5 years, your ATM transaction may maintain, may not maintain. That's why you are not able to get the data, right? 5 years bank statement if you want to get it, up to that they are allowing. Maybe after 5 years, some banks are not allowing literally. So because they are not maintaining data warehouse after 5 years, data warehouse if they are maintaining, right, so we can be able to see history data, but the day-to-day transaction oltp data they maintain it, they not maintain it. So that's a problem. So sometimes you see, you go to bank, you withdraw some amount, the record will, I mean the transaction sometimes fails also. Even though transaction fail, you will see if you log into your bank system, that record will be shown in the account summary. So why it is maintaining? So that is a OLTP system strictly. So as and when you do the record, it will go and insert into the OLTP. That's why you're seeing. But next day, if they realize the transaction is fault, then and then they'll remove the record from the OLTP. So if it is only pass record, correct record, they'll maintain it in the data warehouse. You're clear, right? So that is the difference between database and data warehouse, OLTP and analytical systems. So uh, actually, it's a vast subject. See, some cases depends on the data what they are generating. They choose OLTP or OLAP. OLTP for current day, I mean no history. OLAP for analytical processing. They maintain it in the history. So that's what quickly I wrote some terminologies here. Operation systems, which are nothing but OLTP, analytical, right? Online transactional processing system. So online transactional processing system, as name it says, OLTP, online transaction processing systems. They are meant for only processing the transactions. So no history will be maintained here. So here data, the OLTP data, whatever records, whatever got generated, right? It will be stored under database or some files. So whereas analytical systems, we will be using a concept called online analytical processing system. So it's very clear. A stands for analytical. So they are called as data warehouses. Here only tactical data will be maintained. Tactical data only for the short-term decisions will be taken, and here analytical decisions will be taken care. So these are all the two types of systems. All are same actually. Operational system, OLTP, database, or tactical data. Okay, so upcoming slides I'm going to show you now the same. So this first I'm starting with operational systems, where they are using is to run their operations, either bank or airline reservation systems or a Flipkart, whoever it is, to run their business. They are storing some temporary data. They are call it as they are call it as online transaction systems, so OLTP. Okay, because of their importance, every business they maintain this data. Actually, it is not a few maintain, few don't maintain actually. So every system, first and first the record comes means they put it in OLTP only. So if they need it, they move this record into OLAP. Clear, right? So to create our data warehouse also, through ADF, Databricks and all, we rely on both type of sources. So not needed that only I'm going to pick up as a data engineer, I'm going to pick up on the OLTP. Mostly 90 percentage, more than 90% we get only OLTP data. Sometimes we want to merge into a single system. Nowadays in my requirement also, I'm working for a client ABC. In my client, my requirement is already two retail systems are working together. Two major working retail systems, they are merging. Earlier they were merged together. They are getting separated. Now my ABC client is asking for, hey, I want my own data warehouse. So for that, what I did is I am talking to my earlier system who are they got ABC and XYZ, right? They were together. So those cases, I am talking to them. So that we are I'm trying to replicate whatever the data warehouse they built on. That data only I'm picking up through ADF and data factory. I'm creating a integrated data warehouse. You clear, right? So mostly data warehouse source is database or OLTP only. Clear, right? So now what are the characteristics of OLTP systems, operation systems? So continuously they will be available, as you know. whenever you do transactions, that should be as and when you do the transaction, that should a record should go and insert in your bank statements. That's why they are called as continuous available. So and then transaction integrity, all the data will be maintained here. Okay, so where that record has to go and sit, it will be maintained in a clear vision. So and then high volume of transactions. You might be thinking data warehouse is history purpose and data OLTP is not in a current day purpose. You be thinking like data warehouse data will be huge and data OLTP system will be less. Not like that actually. High volume of data here also it will be there. OLTP also, current day data also will be there actually. High volumes of data. Why? Because to create the data warehouse, we don't create data warehouse for all the data. Certain data we pick up. That's what we call it as extract and load into data warehouse. That's why OLTP also big system, but we don't load all the OLTP data into data warehouse. That's why OLTP is also huge in size actually. Data warehouse also huge in size. Nowadays, like a big data system is getting generated right into Azure data engineering side. So you will see billions of data, trillions of data, right? In terms of size, petabytes, terabytes also there actually in our system size. Okay, so actually speaking, we will see low data volume for each and every query, whatever you do, right? Here we will see less data, but in case of data warehouse, if you do a query, you will see huge amount of data. Here, data is individual, more number of transactions. So this kind of data will be generated by staff. Suppose I take airline reservation system. You want to book one flight, so one record is maintained by one record will be generated by staff actually. So this is the same. You can be self-driven, points. You can go through them. This supports day-to-day operations and it supports large number of users also. So I'll move on to next system. So here I mean to say historical data. From the data, OLTP data, I'm going to create data warehouse that will be used as information. That information that from the data warehouse system, right? So I'm going to use this in data as a knowledge actually. So why that you data is needed to store that for that purpose this slide has been built. And then this is nothing, we can skip this. This is basic level for some beginners. So this is very important. Tactical information, I told right, tactical data. This is tactical data and this is analytical data. So what do I mean by tactical? This is purely meant for running the day-to-day control operations and for transaction processing. Data warehouse is not going to be used for transaction processing. Why? Suppose a OTP is generated, OTP. So all our OTP, if you see from bank whenever you're doing transaction, OTP will generate. That OTP will be automatically deleted from the bank side after 1 or 2 minutes. Why? That is in OLTP. So current transaction will be maintained. When a new OTP got generated, the existing OTP will be replaced by the new OTP. So transaction will be processed only through OLTP, not through data warehouse. So just that data warehouse data that is of historical data will be taken over by management through some reporting tools or any other self-driven tools from the client itself. They go through the data. So whether what kind of data and what are the business implementations can be improvements can be made from the data can be tackled over the data warehousing tools. Okay, so this is a high performance operation system. This will be fast in response compared to data warehouse. As you might be imagining now. So OLTP, OLAP, if I keep database and data warehouse two sides, right? So it will be faster. OLTP will be faster. Data warehouse will take some time as per the schedule from the OLTP. That means database. We pick up the current data and load into the data warehouse the next day or week time. So according to the schedules, we pick up the data. In the real time also, this is the same. I am building data warehouse for my client, right? ABC client. So for that purpose, we pick up the data on a schedule basis. The files or data will come from databases or some Parquet files or ORC files, whatever. The file when it comes like on a frequency basis, right? I pick up the file and load into data warehouse after quite some time. That's why data warehouse will be happen through periodical basis. OLTP will happen as and when it happens. So initiates immediate action. So this is a strategical data. OLAP data is nothing but strategical information. Why we need strategical information? As we discussed, to understand their business issues, to understand their business issues. So why we need data warehouse? See, if I have data about 20 years, for credit card region for South India. So as a manager, for the last 20 years, revenue has increased or decreased. So he is going to understand, suppose revenue has decreased. So what he will do is he will understand issues. Okay, exactly in South India, which area, which year exactly issue has arisen. When onwards the sales has dropped out. So you will try to understand because of the historical data, and you will understand the trends, what is happening in the market. So you will analyze the problems, and then you will plan for better future. So you need to plan it right. Suppose one area in so and so 2019 onwards the sales got dropped for credit card sales. Why? So you'll go deep dive. So that particular area, why people are started less using into credit card area. So you will try to do that analysis and take the better decisions. That is why analytical data is also important for the business. Okay, so this is the same server as I told, right? OLTP is nothing but database, and data is nothing but strategical data. So periodic refresh we are going to do. So the record, when it comes from different sources, it will be called as tactical information. It will be stored in one system. It can be Excel, or it can be SQL server also. OLTP can be stored in not only database, can be stored in terms of some files. In it can be stored in some Excel files, flat files, whatever it is. So once this is loaded into operational data, that means OLTP, which is current data. So this record, whatever is required, we extract, and periodical basis we load into data warehouse. We call it like strategic information. Clear, right? Now this slide is very important. I will tell you. Try to do more information about this slide. Operational, analytical. So OLTP, OLAP, database or data warehouse, current data, historical data. Just I'm reiterating the wording. Okay. So this is primitive. This is derived. What I meant to say primitive. So it comes in the raw format. Whatever it comes, we load it. So this is derived. We are going to derive this data, doing some eliminating some records. So fault tolerance. So fault record will be thrown out. Actually, we load only correct data and exact record and only required record. So that's why it is derived. It is current, and it is historical. Accuracy maintained over the period of time, not all the times. So it is current, right? Every time it is accurate as of now, as per the OLTP standpoint. See, this is constantly updated. This is less frequently updated. Maybe once in a daily, weekly, monthly. It depends on your requirement. In our system also, my ABC client also has multiple frequency. It depends. As and when file comes, right, from ADF or Databricks, we go and pick up the record, load it actually on a periodical basis. So and then minimal redundancy and managed redundancy, all the duplicate data or junk data will be maintained. Here it is mostly there is no redundant data, so it will be fresh record. So highly in detail. So as I told you, here information will be more actually in detailed manner, but here it is like more like aggregated data. Whatever we needed, we just keep it like revenue will be aggregated to month level or year level. That kind of aggregate data we are going to maintain analytical data. This is reference we maintain all this data. This is for historical data, and maybe after one day we are going to replace this record with the latest record. That will happen actually. So it is for day-to-day operations. This is for long-term requirements. So this is a normalized design, denormalized design. So people will only call it as normalized design will have duplicates also. So here mostly it is denormalized data. So with this, I'll ask questions. Questions in the sense, if you have any questions, you can ask me, please. Are you facing any challenges? Following the slides. I think it is basics only. My intention is to take you through all the slides. If you are very new to data warehouse, I want you to learn data warehouse terminologies. But in the it has 3 hours of class or 2 hours of class. You will see some advanced basics also. Yeah, Vishal, you have any doubts, please?
Yeah, Venkat.
Yeah,
So
please.
you referring to the bank here, right? So like I could imagine like the data could be in a structured way, like only the transactional related is data will be coming in, and that will be I think we do some kind of you know uh, like filters, and then we'll load into OLAP,
OLAP, correct.
yeah, OLAP system. So like how about in the retail kind of domains, like where we'll get the images, where we'll get the videos and all, right? So for such kind of things also, we have any mechanism to filter it out, or like we need extra step to do that.
So basically, for processing all these things, right? Your system
Mhm.
should be able to. There are two ways where you store in terms of big data related files. You'll be able to store, or else you can be able to store within database also by using blob objects. So coming onto your
Mhm.
history maintenance, right? How we maintain the history. So these kind of this data will be maintained through some some dates. History
Mhm.
means when the record has arrived, new record has come in. So I wanted to store an historical basis, right? So I always go for by days, like whenever a new picture or a new unstructured data has come in from social media or something, I pick up the date, I'll put a date. So like I maintain that versions by dates actually in the data warehouse system. So not only with that, we can go for some flagging. All the old record will be given like n flagging n or y,
Mhm.
yes or
Mhm.
no.
Mhm.
So all that,
Yeah.
just like we however you store in database, right, with a blob object, like a blob
Mhm.
object, we store there,
Mhm.
we make a flag, that's it. Y for new record, n for
Mhm.
all the history records. That's how we maintain.
Okay, another question, Venkat.
Yeah, please.
So like in OLTP database, like do we also have this historical data? Like we generally
If it
compare.
is maintain historical data, we should not call it as like a OLTP. We should call it as data warehouse only for sure.
Oh, okay. What I mean to say is
Hmm.
like archive data, something we'll call, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so what I understand is like there could be some batch which will be running on weekends to update into the data warehouse. So OLAP data warehouse will be updated then, and then with the latest record, and then that will be stored in data warehouse. But in this scenario, like if we need any real time data, so it will be taken up from the OLTP database, right?
Real time, correct, correct. So,
Yeah.
yes, correct. I'm not understanding the question here. Any question is
Okay.
posted there?
So
No, right?
yeah, the question is like in OLTP database, do we have any kind of archive database also, so that for this particular week or so, before we actually load that into a OLAP data warehouse, right?
See,
So.
actually
Mm-hmm.
speaking, when the data is generated, our customer will tell us, okay, where my OLTP data is available. So it can be
Mm-hmm.
any source. It can be some databases or some files, some storage locations, or some FTPs, and some through some some links we'll be able to catch the data. But what we do is, from our standpoint as a data warehouse designer, we maintain this data in a raw layer. So
Okay.
pick up once we pick up the data, we maintain OLTP data copy, we maintain in one system. We call it like raw layer. So where whatever you call it as archive. So this archive will
Mm-hmm.
be maintained in a real-time system. Mostly, most of the clients I have seen is 3 years of data they maintain. So this archive, as and when the raw file comes, which is OLTP or that one-time data, so we pick up and store into our premise only, not into their premise. How they maintain the customer who are generated OLTP data, how they maintain, I don't know. But there are
Mm-hmm.
separate teams the processing those systems like mainframes and all what one person has told actually. So I
Yeah,
think
that is me.
they are processing. Yeah, so they will maintain some sort of OLTP data there. How they maintain, personally I haven't practiced it. For my side, as a data warehouse designer from the last 13 years 14 years, what I have observed is clearly it is that OLTP data will be maintained in some raw layer within our premise. You can call them like a staging layer or a raw layer. In case of data engineering, we call it raw layer. We maintain all the history up to 3 years. Archiving will be maintained. Even data warehouse also, although we say
Mm-hmm.
data warehouse, some systems what they say is, Once we loaded the data in data warehouse, they want data to be archived for only 3 years, not beyond 3 years they wanted to see. Not all the systems will expect 30 years of history data. In that case,
Mhm.
we again archive the data for quite 1 or 2 years. Then only we fully retire the data. It depends.
Okay. Okay.
For both the sides, it will be there. For OLTP, we strictly maintain within our premise. We call it like archive. So
Okay.
in system C, mostly these data storing operations are happening through storage locations because we are on cloud, right? At least as an Azure data engineer, we are on cloud. They maintain the data, even it is SQL Server data also. We get the data as the archive data. Sorry, what do we say? The OLTP data, we get the data. We convert the data into some Parquet files. Because of the sizing constraints, we upload these files into storage locations or blob locations actually inside cloud. So because
Mhm.
storage is very cheaper here compared to on-premise or server actually. So there only we
Okay.
maintain the archiving also, both for OLTP and also for data warehousing also.
Both in the cloud.
Yeah, mostly, not all the cases. At least
Okay.
majority clients they're following the same because there are multiple flowers are there, hot tier and cool tier. That kind of if you properly choose on your cool tier, charge will be very less actually. If you are not maintaining any, if you are not doing any transactions on your data, if you keep your data just like that in storage locations, you will be charged very less amount I mean throughout the year also if you don't touch the data. That cases, they will choose one blob location, whatever the
Mhm.
archiving, they will keep it in that area. So they will mark that storage location as cool tier. That means no transaction will happen. So you will be charged very less amount. That's why they are preferring over servers
Okay.
on-premise servers. They are preferring Azure locations. This will be discussed while we see Azure Data Lake Gen 2. As part of
Sure.
that topic, we are going to detail. We are going to discuss how data will be maintained as a archive basis. Okay.
Mhm. Just one more question.
Yeah,
So,
please.
do we have any constraint on the data? Like this data should have this much of size, like any max size we can store, or like it can be like on a field level. I hope the block field
Actually,
contains a.
actually, no, nothing like that. You can, it will allow, see, one of the cloud functionality is elasticity. As per the data, it will, the size can be, it will automatically increased by Azure itself. They'll increase your size, what you are recommended for. So,
Okay.
coming on to that, but your platform team will have some control over the data size, what you are going to store. Because if you are maintaining huge data, you are completely occupied the infrastructure. You are doing a lot of transactions. So others who are wanted to make a data or on the same Azure class Azure storage account or through some other clusters, whatever you use, right? ADF or Databricks. So a lot of traffic you are generating by yourself. So in that point
Mhm.
standpoint, they will have control over that, especially when you are dealing with production. Your platform team always have the eye on that amount of data you are loading. They will ask you to do in a batch. Even archiving also you cannot do just like that. So there will be some restrictions over that. But again, there are nothing much complication. Just to answer your question, I told yes, it is there, but in real time, there are not that many problems. But one problem
Okay.
what I have seen is sometimes suppose you have a production system, you have huge data, so yeah, sometimes QA people won't accept UAT people. So UAT
Mhm.
people are nothing but users. They wanted
Okay.
to perform some UAT operations. They won't accept the stage data what you have. So doesn't mean that say stage systems we always have in sync with the production. So
Mhm.
ad hoc basis for performing stage right. Some cases we tend to copy the data from production to UAT. That case you'll be getting
Mhm.
huge data from production to UAT. So the data
Mhm.
traffic will be erased more in my system. So we are
Okay. Okay.
maintaining not maintaining all the batch loads just like production copy. We should supposed to maintain because of budget constraints. We are not maintaining that. That case, that day we process huge amount of data. So for that we take the platform approval. Okay, this much data is being copied. So it will be temporarily after some time we can retire the data. Something we'll have the agreement between them, then only we do that.
Okay, okay, understood. Yeah, thanks, Venkat.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I'll take it as no. Now I'll take the definitions. It's it is data warehouse. When someone asks you what is data warehouse, you can tell all these definitions. So just it is like a subject oriented. For every data warehouse, whenever they're maintaining, not only data warehouse, there is another terminology called as marts, data marts. When they're creating these data marts, right, they create data warehouse with respect to one subject. So when I say subject, right, for debit card, one section. So suppose Vishal asked me, he is working in a retail system. So for Flipkart, for all the electronic goods, they'll maintain one data warehouse. For all the some chemical products, whatever they are selling, they will maintain separate data warehouse. For any non-electrical products like toys and all, they'll maintain another data warehouse. So in the case of bank, credit card one data warehouse, debit card one data warehouse. So they always try to maintain the data warehouse with subjected to one subject area. So that is what the data warehouse is, a subject oriented, and then integrated. So when I say integrated, sources will be huge. So you'll be having multiple sources in the real time. Multiple sources in the sense some 10 flat files, 10 Excel files, one Parquet file. Maybe all together I want to build 1 day of data, one batch load. For that day, I have to process these many sources of data. Finally, I want to store into my system. You're clear, right? So it is just second. Just give me 1 second. I wanted to attend my kid. Please don't mind. I'll be just only 1 minute. I'll take. Okay. My kid is facing online class. Problem. Sorry, it was unlocked as happening for my kid. It is heavy rains in my area, so my kid having some problems. I was assisting him. Sorry. So time variant, the data warehouse data, it will vary over the time. That's what I told, right? Whenever they want to record their, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so whatever the transaction are being generated from the OLTP system, it will be maintained over the time. Actually, as I told, every batch load for today, weekly basis or daily basis, whenever the new set of data comes, we maintain the data. We will be having some audit columns. So who processed, when it was processed, right, and what is the source system. We will maintain some 4 to 5 audit columns. I will tell you in real time how we maintain the historical data in terms of Azure data engineering side. So that's why it is time variant. All the data will be, will be taken over, and data what we store here will be permanent basis. So it's not like OTPs from the OLTP systems. So it will be once we maintain in data warehouse, unless until we take a decision, we're not going to return this data. Okay. So for doing all these operations, we are going to get the data for the management decision process. Okay, so this is nothing. You can. I will share the slides to you. I have another version of slides. I'm going to share you this. You can also go through this. This is nothing but incremental load and full load. I'll tell you in detail once we do it. See, this slide, high level, I'll tell you. OLTP system, whenever we get it right, any changes or new data arrived in the OLTP system, we load the data in two ways. One is incremental way, second one is full load. So full load in the sense, dataverse we have data, some changes happened at the source system. You want to get the changes or new record. Sometimes new record will be generated altogether, or existing record what is being stored in data warehouse will be having changes in the source system. In that case, we insert the data or update the data. Suppose there is an employee in the bank side. His name is Venkat. His ID is 123 and the salary is 20,000. Okay, Venkat, ID, salary. He has an employee. So whenever a change is happened to the employees, or he got some promotion or he got some salary increment, that we are going to update it. A new employee is joined altogether, that we are going to insert into the database.
So, am I audible? Venkat, I'm unable to hear you. Is it same with everyone?
Yeah, even I'm unable to hear you.
Okay.
Decisions, they go for data warehouse. So just wanted to keep themselves in the market in a competitive edge, right? They always prefer data warehouse.
Venkat, we lost your audio a few minutes back. Could you please go again?
Is it
Yeah.
is it good now?
Yeah, we are good now. Could you please go above? I think we lost one or two slides there. Yeah, from here. Yeah, from here.
So was it not covered?
Oh,
Okay,
It was
I'll
just started when we able to hear you.
okay. So this slide, what I'm trying to say is data nature, how the loads will be taken into consideration in terms of data warehouse. So okay, so whenever you got some data into OLTP system or source system, so the data, size of the data, nature of the data, how you need to handle into data warehouse, these slides talk about. Suppose you have some 1 lakh rows in the target system, which is your data warehouse. That data, when it is not at all loaded, this is the first time we are loading incremental data or full load data, we need to take a decision actually. So type of loading we call it as. So what is incremental load? When the size is huge, you cannot refresh the entire data warehouse. You cannot refresh the entire data warehouse. We take through this batch load in terms of incremental load. What is incremental load? So already you have 1 lakh records in data warehouse. So I will have some unique columns. I pick up that unique column. I compare it with the source data, whether it is new record or existing record within 10 lakhs itself. If it is existing record, I update it. If it is a new record, I append it. That is what is nothing but incremental load. In case of full load, what do you mean by full load? So full load is nothing but entire data warehouse I'm going to refresh at a time. So entire data warehouse, 10 lakh rows I'm going to refresh, so that whatever is there in the source system now, that just like that I copy into data warehouse, it will be done. So it is a full refresh. This full request, full load will be taken into consideration. Only size of the source files are very less. When it is huge data, you cannot do this. This huge data. Suppose some 50 billions of data is there. 50 billion records you cannot process just like that in the data warehouse side. A full refresh cannot be done. So that's why what we do is we pick up the comparison whether that record is present. Okay, record is present, then update it if any changes from the source side. If there is no that record is not present altogether, just insert it. So we call this like merge in the data warehousing side, which we handle through Databricks and Data Factory. We will see in detail about later classes. That's what I was talking about. Clear, Vishal?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Okay, so based on the source file size, we choose incremental or full load. There are other scenarios also there. Overwrite partition, right? Just insert data, something. Multiple types of loads will be there. Don't worry, I will tell you in detail how to handle nature of the data, how much frequently the data is getting changed from the source, or how much new recent data is coming up. Only recent data is coming, but I always go for insert data. So no record is repeating, then no need of going for update, right? Only insert is enough. So we have to study the source data pattern, then we take whether it is full refresh or incremental load or override partition or insert only or update only, something like that. We need to take a decision. So accordingly, our code has to be written in terms of transformations. Okay. So what type of data we handle in data warehouse? This is historical data, read-only data. All these are self-driven. You may go through, please. It is metadata will be maintained in data warehouse site, easily accessible. One subject-oriented we create, we integrate and scrub the data, scrubbing. We polish the data. Okay, we polish the data. So these are all same actually. With the help of data warehousing, we can do multi-dimensional view, like hierarchies in Power BI, right? So one of the reporting tail I'm talking about. So hierarchies with the help of dimension data we created. So that kind of data we can build it in data warehousing. That is one of the best feature what I have seen. So it's more in terms of analytical capability. It is more descriptive in terms of business. So these are self-driven, nothing much information required for you. You can be able to go through, I'm sure. So what are the benefits? We already seen here actually. Forecasting we can do. We can understand the business trends, and then they can bring better products in the market timely manner. Like a credit card section, the sales are dropping regularly, so they need to bring up a new advantage, credit cards into the market. This kind of predictive analysis and historical checking analysis based on the data analysis, when since we are sharing huge historical data, they are going to take the better decisions. So forecasting in the sense, I was talking, see, in recent reporting tools, right? We are working for ETL. Think about reporting side like Power BI, Tableau. They are reporting tools actually. Those tools are having some of the new features like forecasting. So for the last 10 years, how the data is, is it increasing or down falling in terms of sizes, numbers. So based on that, it will predict the future also. So all this happening through because of historical data from the data warehouse standpoint. So all the reporting tools have this option. So they can well utilize this, and then they can forecast the business. They can do some changes accordingly. So where and all data warehousing is used, as I told, right? Risk analysis, some insurance companies, financial companies, marketing companies like Flipkart and all, and some financial companies who takes care of profit, procurement who wants to buy the new products, who sell, and inventory, claim analysis. Again, I talk about insurance. When how in which area exactly claims are more, accident, automobile industry, or insurance in terms of health. So in terms of the national disasters, so claims are happening through which analysis. So those companies will maintain data warehouse. Just this slide talks about in which area people are using data warehouse. Not all the business are using data warehouse, very few people, right? So whoever need historical data, they go for it. This is one of the important concept. We call it like data marts. So when I was telling, right, data mart is nothing but subset of data warehouse. So we create some small system out of data warehouse. First we create the data warehouse. On top of it, we create some data marts actually. So some small subject areas, small portion of data warehouse will be created for the specific purpose. So that cases we call it like data marts. So they are very easy to understand, be easy to access. Performance will be faster than data warehouse. So all these operations, right? So first they create the data marts, and then they load into data warehouse. Some of the real-time scenarios. See, what I mean to say is, whenever you want to build a data warehouse, holistic data warehouse, based on your sources, first they create data marts first, which is nothing but one specific portion of the data, source data. They load the data into data marts. After all the data marts are loaded, right? We are making sure that everything is loaded properly. Then all these data marts data will be pushed into one common data warehouse. So that is nothing but enterprise data warehouse. So that is the best practice we follow. See any kind of data leakages, some data corrections rate can be made in terms of data marts itself. Then to data warehouse. I will tell you how data marts will be created. Top-down approach, top-level approach. So there are two types of methodologies are there. With the help of those two methodologies, first we create data marts, or first we create data warehouse. So I will tell you that, don't worry. So data mart is nothing but, for now you can understand, like small portion of data warehouse. Okay. So why we go for the small data warehouse? It's very less cost, right? It is controlled locally. So since it has only credit card information locally, so any transaction changes you want to do, right, can do quickly compared to data warehouse. Data warehouse is a huge system. If at all we wanted to correct it, it is very big, vast subject. So first we correct it in the data marts. Then and then all the data marts are in up to date with the source, right? Then we load this data into data warehouse. So contains less information than warehouse. It's true, right? As I told you, data marts are special purpose. Not all the clients will be building. If you ask me, in my client, what they are building, they are creating some layers actually. They are called as enrich layer, IM layer, and then business layer. There are separate layers they are creating for data marts purpose only. They don't call it as data mart. End of the day, they load all this data into data warehouse. So data marts are special purpose. Whoever wants to maintain the data in a chunks, right? they go for data marts. It's the same concept, sir. All of you, all these topics what you are covering up, right? This remains same for ETL tools also for data engineering tools also. Everywhere, end of the day, our agenda is to create the data warehouse. Okay, nothing else. So size only matters, way only matters. Okay, so then we have enterprise data warehouse will be created on top of the data marts. That's what they mention here. Easily understood and navigated than the enterprise data warehouse. So easily we can understand it is small in size. Some of the advantages are there. Data marts over data warehouse. So I'm skipping some of the points here because I feel that they are not much essential. I'm skipping up. You may stop me. Um, I think it's 9:40 now. You can stop me some other time. I mean, 8:30 to 9:30 we'll continue daily basis because a few people will be wanted to go to office and all, right? So till what time it's supposed to you? I mean, you wanted to continue. Shall we continue to till 9:45 daily basis? You can say any concerns, please. Anybody has concern going till 8:30 to 9:45? 8:30 to 9:45. Suraj. Okay, Suraj told me we can. Oh, he said okay. Anybody has problem? Vishal also fine. Okay, daily I'm thinking actually. First, see daily basis. What I do is first 5 to 10 minutes I'll take up a recap and questions for the yesterday's class. That's why at least 5 to 10 minutes will be losing on daily basis. On top of it, 1 hour only I'm going to take up. So let's take up till 9:45 if at all no problems from your office side. Anybody has problem? Okay, I'll take it as no. So for today, we have seen topics like OLTP, OLAP, and then advantages of data warehouse, definition of data warehouse, how the loads will be taken, batch loads will be taken into data warehouse in terms of full load and then incremental load, right? What is data mart? Advantages of data mart, right? So what is advantage? So this data mart is small in size, right? We can simply create for one subject area. Maybe one credit card alone we create, credit card section alone. Maybe home loan alone we create one data mart simply. So limited feeds, data is very less, quick in time. To build a data warehouse, I'm telling you, to build a data warehouse for my project, my last project was completely, migration come implementation project. So it was from the on-premise to cloud. We have brought in all the data. So it took me 3.5 years for my project. So entire 3.5 years we were migrating the on-premise data. On top of it, we were adding some implementations, data warehousing best practices. It took me 3.5 years. So in case of data mart, right, hardly we can take some 30 to 120 days. That's what they say. Data mart is simpler than data warehouse. So focused user needs, limited scope. Scope is very less. The scope of data what we take up, right? So very less, and so it is the best model for data construction. What I'm saying, in real time, they take the sources, extract, and then they integrate and load into data marts first, which are smaller in size. Again, they integrate these data marts into a data warehouse. Clear, right? So they demonstrate prototyping. Prototyping in the sense, when they create a data marts, they will go for some internal validations along with the client validations. Based on the proper decision only, they load this data into data warehouse. That's what they mean to say prototyping. So disadvantages also there. Some of the disadvantages of data mart is this data mart. Whenever I want to ask one big question, I want to see revenue of entire SBI, irrespective of credit card, debit card, personal loans, home loans, ATMs, anything. I wanted to see entire holistic revenue for the SBI. Will you be able to see? No. It is targeting to one subject area. You cannot get all the data at one point of time, right? So that's why we need data warehouse always. Data marts are specially designed purpose. In my area, in my project, ABC client, what we are doing is we are creating multiple layers. So here data is taken into different layers, like data marts I can call it as. So while maintaining those layers itself, we are maintaining the data marts. Specific data we keep in different layers, so that my high level management, they can go and view my data to what level they wanted to see the data. And then end of the day, if they want to see holistic view, again I do have a data warehouse that is again already there. So I create a data warehouse and some layers also. In each layer we restrict the data, we restrict the historical data, how many years it has to maintain, until what level it has to maintain. There are some criteria has been provided to us, so we call them as data marts. First data marts we create, on top of it data warehouse will be created. Okay, so this is what the architecture. Simply saying, right, this architecture, we have the source in the left hand side, flat files, Parquet files, ORC files, JSON files, any files, maybe some Oracle systems, SAP systems, SAP system like SAP HANA, it will be hugely used actually in data warehousing side. As a ETL developer, you'll be using more actually. So there are multiple sources are there. End of the day, we need to integrate into one source. We call it as staging area. Staging area is nothing but just we copy the data, we put it into a storage account. We call it like raw layer in the Azure terminology. Raw layer. We call it not layer. We call it raw layer. So once we maintain all the data here, right, we can load this data into data marts first, and then data warehouse next. Enterprise data warehouse. This will be consumed by multiple users. So next slide we'll talk about data warehouse in detail, architecture also. Don't worry. I have something like ODS and all. I'll tell you. This is not the data warehouse. This is not the OLTP system. In between something is there, ODS. So in the next session we are going to see that. Any doubts for today? We can wind up with this topic. Anybody has doubt so far what we
Oh,
did?
Venkat,
Yeah,
from our
Nagin.
end, we are going to create the data warehouse and data marts, or on behalf of us, the platform team will do for us.
We only have to create.
Okay.
They'll set up the storage accounts. Yeah, good question. They'll set up the storage accounts, like log into portal, Azure portal page, create the storage account, naming some sort of choosing the blob storage or data like Gen 2, data like Gen 1, many are there. Choosing the right storage account, they'll set up and give you. They will enable the access for you, and then once you are having access, you will be able to see and create your folder structure. How you wanted to maintain, as you told, you asked me, right, archive, how you do archive. You maintain your archive folders, you maintain your history data in terms of hierarchical way. Suppose you have data yearly basis, like a folder structures will be maintaining in a hierarchical way. Year, inside year you will be having all the months, inside months you will be having days, inside dates you will be having hours of data what we receive, or minutes of data files what you receive, you will maintain. So all those things will be maintained by yourself, but infrastructure data marts will be given by them. So when you ask me what is the, I understand what you are asking. Okay, this is one side with respect to data storage accounts. What about data warehouse? In terms of SQL server, Azure SQL is my data warehouse. In that case, what you do, right? In this case, you are the data engineer, you are the data, ETL developer who are, you have to create your data warehouse. You have to create your table structure, schemas, databases, right? Databases and all you need to create by yourself in case of SQL server or Oracle, any database. So why I'm saying this is, your platform team will not know. They don't know anything how to create the table structure. So to the table structure, how we maintain, that is what you are meant for. To store the historical data, you need to maintain some columns, special columns. You need to maintain, records and all. You need to maintain the structure by yourself. That is called as metadata. So to keep all these tables and views, whatever you create, materialize, whatever it is, you are going to keep under one schema, and then within the database, right? All these designs you need to do by yourself. Maybe if they are restricted, infrastructure team is restricted to you, so you can always go and approach them, have a coordination. Okay, this is how my data warehouse should look like as per the client requirements. Okay, help me out creating this database and this schema, and then this table. If you are not having, as a data engineer, you will be having access for sure, at least to till stage level. But whatever you create can be moved into production also through some DevOps tools or GitHub repositories, big bucket data, whatever it is, right? So on top of it, if they want to restrict in the production side, they restrict and then they all the copy of this table will be created by themselves in the production environment. Clear, right?
Yeah, got it.
Any questions, sir? Any other things so far what we discussed? Tomorrow also it will be data warehousing slideshow only. Please don't mind, it is theoretical, but once we complete this 1 or 2 sessions, right, we will be starting through SQL Server, which is purely we are going to see commands. Although if you are coming from SQL background, I will try to see as much as topics I want to include. Any external more complex scenarios, if you want to learn SQL, you can practice yourself, which will be more interactive sessions, not like slideshow. So by the time we will be seeing more, maybe you can take SQL within this premise itself. Azure SQL will take up as a product. Okay, for doing that we need to have portal also. I will try to install Azure SQL in your system. So before that, in the last video, I have recorded portal.azure.com overview. Try to create your account so that we are going to install SQL Server. Okay, clear, right? Or else if you want to see only on-premise SQL Server, I can be able to help you. So I do have files for SQL Server also. I can be able to give you within your laptop. You can be able to install. So, but why I'm saying is Azure portal is not for free of cost. Your credits will be keep on utilized actually. So if you wanted to use on-premise SQL Server, I'll be able to give you. What is your choice? On-premise SQL Server means I'll give you the file, installation file. I'll send you through your mail. My team will send you. You can be able to install in your machine. You can practice SQL over there itself. No difference between Azure SQL and your local SQL Server. Commands will remain same actually. Or else we can do one thing. I'm telling other options as well. Within Databricks or Data Factory also, you can be able to practice Azure SQL. It's all about you. So how you want to take up. So please decide and let me know. Tomorrow it will be data warehouse session, right? I will be able to extend my this session. I can help you out installing SQL Server or Azure SQL if you want to go, or else you can take Databricks. There itself you can practice. So if you ask me, there are three out of three options. One option is very efficient. Take Databricks, product from the Azure portal. Practice your SQL on top of it. It's very simple and benefit also, because that is where you are going to write your Azure SQL. Why you want to practice in SQL Server? If you want to safeguard your Azure portal credits, 30,500 credits, I'm telling an option. Clear, right?